So I haven't filmed a video in forever, and so I'm in Arizona right now, and I thought, so I have somewhere to be at like 9, which is in 25 minutes, but I've been wanting to film this video forever, so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna film it, but I need my script. Hold on, hold please. I want to talk about something super important. It's not. I want to talk about MLMs and QAnon. This is something I've been thinking about a lot. I love anti-MLM content. I love most commentary content. It's why I like true crime, because I look at it more as like commentary than I do as like, I don't know, like entertainment. But I want to move away from doing true crime videos and do more like commentary style videos. This was initially going to be a get ready with me, but I already got ready, so not doing that. So that's kind of like the direction I want to move into, and I feel like moving in that direction will finally get me the motivation that I need to like be more, what's the word, hold on, I want the lighting to be good, to be more consistent. That's what I was trying to say. So with that being said, let's talk about MLMs and QAnon. Okay, so in order to talk about the MLM connection to QAnon, we need to talk about what MLMs are and what QAnon is. So MLMs are multi-level marketing companies, or as they're called in this space, commercial cults. I was actually in 2 multi-level marketing companies at the bottom of the pyramid, like didn't get anywhere, and I know several other people that have either contributed to the multi-level marketing industry or are currently in the multi-level marketing industry, or currently contribute, or were in it, or whatever. So with that being said, what's QAnon and how are these things related? So QAnon is like a fringe, formerly underground group that originated on the website 4chan. So some people say that it did not originate with Donald Trump, but the first post that can be linked back to QAnon on 4chan was in 2017, after Donald Trump was elected. And so with Q, in partnership, if you will, with the far-right nationalists, this group that once operated in the shadows is now a mainstream organization, or a mainstream ideology, whatever you want to call it, or a cult. They go by, most of them don't go by Q, they go by like the MAGA cult, or just MAGA, or like MAGA fans, or whatever, pro-Trump, like all of those, they are coexist together. QAnon, like I said, it was once a fringe organization, now essentially running a lot of our government. We now have people that are self-proclaimed pro-Trump people that hold the same ideologies as QAnon, that are now in the House, in the Senate, running for mayor, running for attorney general, like in the Supreme Court, like all these things. Like they are within our government making rules and making laws that dictate the way in which we live our lives. So they've continuously spread information about the Democratic Party. They are the ones that originated Pizzagate. They're the ones that talk about lizard people, that there's tunnels underground where Nancy Pelosi is trafficking children, like all of these different things. So they endorsed a coup on the Capitol, and not only that, they have used this misinformation and straight out lies in order to embolden people in the public to rise against this government, and just, yeah. But I mention this because QAnon is linked to the Republican Party. But I do want to clarify, I personally, as someone that's very into politics, I have an issue with lumping them in with the Republican Party, because I do not believe that if you are Republican, then you're inherently pro-Trump. I think that there has now become 3 political parties, and I hypothesize that in the near future, in the next 10 years, there is going to be a 3-party system. and I think it's going to be Democrat, or either a 3 or 4 party system. It's going to be the far left, the far right, and then Democrat and Republican. That is my personal belief. I don't think we're ever going to have a president that identifies as independent. What I think is going to happen is we're going to have a 4-party system. Who's going to get elected? I don't know. I don't know about all that, but so I will be talking about the Republican Party, but I'm not talking about the Bush era traditional Republicans. I'm talking about these Q followers. So I wanted to mention this and give this background because actual MLMs and politicians, like not these fringe groups, not distributors and not parts of the cult, but like actual, like the MLM industry and politicians and lobbyists and things are the reason that MLMs have been able to skirt by FTC regulations and different things for so many years, and how they're still operating in the capacity that they are, which is legal pyramid schemes in the grand scheme of things. Yes, they have products, but they operate as pyramid schemes, point blank, period. Like, they are pyramid schemes. So I'm not gonna like get into the weeds about all that, because to be honest, like I want this to be educational and informative, but I also like want to like have fun. So it's also a very big topic, like how lobbyists work and how lobbying works is like, I could like go into like a whole video about lobbyists and like what they do. To simplify it, it's how a lot of politicians like make their money for campaigns. So if you are familiar, like there's like big ones like things like super PACs, which like a lot of people want to ban, but we know that it takes a lot of money in order to get people elected, and so these companies or these organizations or these entire industries will come in and say, hey, we will give you money for your campaign as a donor or a private donor or whatever, and as a result you need to have our best interest in mind. There's positive spins on this. Like, for example, I work in libraries and we have lobbyists that do that. However, they don't do it monetarily. Lobbyists don't have to have money involved. Instead, they can just go and try to convince people why something is important. And that's more ethical lobbying. Like, I'm talking about lobbying with money. So, the MLM industry is largely regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, and the FTC operates much like the police operate. If they don't know that something is going on, they are not able to regulate it. So many of these counter arguments for MLMs will say, well, if it was illegal, we wouldn't be able to do it. Well, they can't regulate what they don't know. Think about it like a serial killer. Okay, I know that's very dramatic, but let's think of it that way. A serial killer is going to go on killing until they're found out and arrested, right? It's still illegal. That doesn't mean serial killers don't exist. It just means that they haven't been caught yet. So, and if you want to even look at it more specifically, like think of like Black Widow nurses that kill people, or doctors, like they're operating within the parameters of the law-ish. They just haven't been caught killing people yet. It's how they can get away with doing the things that they do for so long. With all that being said, I feel like there's a connection between the communities in which MLMs are popular and the political background of MLMs. And what I mean by that is, if you want to look geographically where MLMs are the most popular, they're most popular in military communities. So military families are very easily targeted for these types of things. They are very popular in smaller towns, which is ironic because saturation is definitely an issue. Product-based pyramid schemes, such as, if you want to look at it from that perspective, like Monet, Modere, Q Sciences, Hempworks, like anything that sells a product is going to be more likely targeted towards women, especially if it's skincare, hair care, or clothing. Think about like i.e. LuLaRoe. But anything that is more, what's the word? They sell a service. So think like insurance scams, Amway, iGenius, that type of thing. Those are largely targeted to men. And so when you hear a lot of people talk about like, well, if you look at the top whatever in the MLM industry, like the top earners in any MLM or the top earning MLMs companies, it's men. So how can we be targeting vulnerable women? It works exactly like the corporate world, just because they're not the rich. It actually is kind of ironic when you think about it, because it is the most female saturated industry. It's mostly dominated by women, and yet still to this day men make the most money in these companies at the top of the company. So it's like, well, that is corporate America in a nutshell. So they can still target vulnerable women. I find this ironic because a lot of these people are putting themselves out there as like, oh, we're trying to help women, we're trying to we're business owners. They use all this empowering language in order to entice people to want to be a part of the business or whatever. They're doing things that are unethical, and then when they get caught, these brands are like, or these other distributors or whatever are like, well, it doesn't reflect the industry as a whole, it doesn't reflect the brand as a whole. But these brands are allowing these distributors to run wild like it's the freaking Wild West, and there's no consequences. So they have no issue with their ideology embedding itself into the way that they're marketing things until there's pushback. So I still have a cough. I was up this morning coughing. It just will not go away. And it was out a couple weeks ago. It was a few weeks ago. I recovered a couple weeks ago. So I also want to talk about we're talking about MLMs. I also want to talk about the pandemic, because I feel like there was a huge rise in MLM popularity linked to misinformation to the pandemic. And not only did MLMs thrive during this time because people were out of a job, so it was very easy they finally had like the perfect excuse, right, to market to people. So they looked for people that were in a tough spot and needing an income. But they used a lot of this language that was like, instead of living off the government, or instead of using your stimulus check to pay your rent, why don't you invest it back into yourself and join my business? There was a lot of language about that, about this like separating from this unethical government that was causing these issues during the pandemic. And they did this by making this promise that if they just took the leap to buy a starter kit, they were starting a new life for their family and whatever. Because they prey on vulnerable women as a whole, as a rule, the pandemic along with that was like the perfect storm, because who wouldn't want to sit home with their babies and make money, right? Like it was the perfect cocktail of a bad situation. And as the pandemic grew longer and longer, and as conspiracy theories started running rampant, the recruitment tactics, I noticed, started changing and becoming like even more devious. So I think part of that stemmed from the fact that like people were going back to work, so there wasn't desperation, so they couldn't like cling on to that desperation. So instead, it was like this conversation of like, oh, the pandemic was started, they're ending the pandemic. They want people to go back to work because they don't want moms to be home with their kids, because they know that we're gonna like educate them about the truth of the government. So like a lot of people started homeschooling, and as a result, like a lot of these MLMs started targeting like homeschool moms. There was a lot of this like, don't give your kids modern medicine because we can't trust the FDA, we can't trust the CDC. A lot of the anti-vax moms were like very much like, you know, all four MLMs, like use essential oils, don't use antibiotics, don't give your kids the vaccine, like all these different things. And I'm actually not faulting anyone who didn't give their children the vaccine, because I know that that was like one of the last groups to be tested. It's still fairly new. Like I know a lot of like people that aren't anti-vax who chose not to give their kids the vaccine. And I do believe like vaccination to some extent is a personal choice. So like, don't come at me. I'm not judging anyone's parenting or saying you're an anti-vaxxer for not getting the COVID vaccine or whatever, to an extent, but they were targeting people and convincing them not to do these things, and instead use your stimulus checks or use the money you have in order to start your own business and cure COVID and all these things. There was like a lot of like ridiculous health claims that came out of this. There was a lot of like talk about like big pharma and like medicine altogether, like not trusting doctors, like only going towards like holistic medicine, which is very privileged in and of itself because a lot of that holistic medicine is very expensive and not covered by health insurance. There's already a health insurance disparity in this country. Like it's a whole big thing. Using things like oils for medicine, using diet as medicine, and like all these different things, and without any sort of science, because in their minds science isn't even real. Like they have debunked all this science. It's just crazy. It's like a lot of craziness. So I know this was like a little chatty background. I actually have to go to one of my conference things, but I want to come back and I want to do like a little reaction. I want to react to some of these clips of people still pushing that same ideology and like how these things are connected, because me giving you the background isn't proving anything. I want to show you some of these people, and I am specifically choosing people that are presenting themselves as public figures. If I figure out how to blur their face, I will, but like if I don't, they are presenting themselves as public figures. I'm not going to be using anyone that is not doing that isn't presenting themselves as public figures. I feel like I've shaken the camera the whole time, so if I have, I'm so sorry, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna go to my session and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna do that. Okay, so I went to my thing, I'm back. I wanted to just dive into some of these posts that I just think are just it's just dangerous, and it makes me question, like, you need to question everything, which is like funny because it's like that's what these people want you to do, is question everything. But then when you question them, it's like, oh, you're just part of big pharma or big tech, or you're liberal or whatever. But anyway, so this, I'm not putting the names of the accounts, but this account has she posted a story saying like someone had messaged her and said, hey, do you have any natural remedies for earaches? And so it says, you know, when it comes to ear infections, I like to the wait and see approach, which I'm already like, okay, like pain, you know, like ear infections are incredibly painful for kids. So I'm not judging, but it's like, okay. Oils diluted properly around the outside of the ear are my favorite. On Guard and tea tree work well for us. If we had recurring ear infections, I would definitely bring my kiddos to the chiropractor regularly, which chiropractor is amazing for your joints and like any imbalances you have, but like it is not a cure-all for these things. And I'm like, what? They can't. What if you're a chiropractor, comment down below, like what can you realign to like fix your sinuses, because most of the time ear infections are like a sinus issue. So at the end it says not medical advice, but what to do if they have an earache. When it comes to treating ear infections, the first thing to do is nothing. That's because these infections normally treat themselves after some time. In some cases, though, your child's doctor may recommend interventions such as antibiotics. Unfortunately, these medications come with various side effects, and for that reason, they should be used only when the situation warrants it, which I agree. But when a child has reoccurring ear infections and they're in pain, like, what are you supposed to do? There's a fine line between when to use natural remedies and when to use conventional medicine, but as a holistic-minded mama, I always lean towards herbal medicine or homeopathy before reaching for a pharmaceutical, even when treating an acute illness like an ear infection. So then they proceed to show the products, and two of them are doTERRA products. So she explains the chiropractic care, says can help decrease ear infections by improving drainage in the ears. But it still doesn't say how. It says one study that focused on 46 children under the age of 5, reported outstanding findings, which does not tell me anything. The study investigated whether chiropractic adjustments improve symptoms caused by ear infections. Surprisingly, 93% of the children involved saw improved symptoms. Of these, 75% experienced improvement in 10 days. But that's still not, like, my question is, okay, so for example, if you have migraines, one thing that I noticed when I have migraines, like, I don't have just pain in my head, right? I have pain I can get pain in my sinuses, I can get pain in my neck and different things like that. So like when I go to the chiropractor, getting a realignment or readjustment helps my neck pain and it helps my jaw because I've been like clenching, but it's not gonna help my headache. So I don't know. So then she recommends some other things that aren't doTERRA. That's fine. This isn't the most egregious thing I've seen. However, this is coming from a profile that is a truth seeker, home birth, clean beauty, holistic living, army wife. She's a lawyer into medical freedom, very anti-vax, just a lot of questionable things. And so I clicked on her link tree to see, okay, what is she selling? Like what is her motive here? So right off the bat, let's see, is this an MLM? She promotes a brand called Crunchy. I guess that's her MLM, is Crunchy. It's a cosmetic company, and yeah, join my Crunchy team and become an advocate. She also, she peddles a lot of stuff in her link tree. Oh my God, there is so much here to unpack. Like, oh my God, I have to get a screen share of this. I've never seen a link tree this long. It's like all the exemptions for vaccines. So yeah, a lot, just a lot. So that's our first example. Okay, so I found someone else. They are a medical freedom advocate, speaking out against big pharma, FDA, government tyranny, all that stuff. I'm trying to figure out which one of these is an MLM because I know she's... Okay, so she peddles one called Patriot Wellness Box. That is an MLM that I've never heard of. She also peddles Melaleuca, which I'm assuming would be joining a team, because why would you peddle it otherwise? And, oh yeah, Melaleuca. So I don't know if she's a Melaleuca distributor or if she also does Wellness Box, but Wellness Box is American-made products that are manufactured in America, greener, cleaner, and affordable. So that's great. She shows all these studies that are... Okay, so that's from Blaze Media, Cure US. So that she posts a lot of different studies or whatever. The problem that I have with people posting studies is if you aren't qualified to, like, there's professionals that, so I have an MLIS degree, and one thing that we are taught is like how to review whether a source is valid or not, or whether it's a valuable source or not. And a lot of these ones that they post are just they're not valid sources. Like, they don't, either the pool, like the people that they're studied on, the study pool is not expansive enough to really give you what you need. Like, there's just a lot of things that go into it, and these people don't know how to do it. Oh my God. I didn't even talk about Save the Children. I feel like I could do a whole video on the Save the Children movement, because that was something that stemmed from the pandemic. And obviously sex trafficking is horrible. Children sex trafficking, horrible. All these things are horrible. But they used this as a way to fight against the pandemic, like saying that masks were going to make it more likely for your kids to get taken. Like, it was just crazy, like so much fear mongering. So she posted this. Oh my God, I haven't even watched it yet, but the caption Save the children. Teacher sex crimes are only going to increase as districts become more desperate to hire people to fill vacancies. It's time to speak out and get involved. Join the PTA/PTO. Go to your school board meetings. She spelled school wrong. You have every right to know what is happening at your child's school and what they're teaching in the class. The teacher unions and government are aggressively pushing their gender ideology/sex education in schools, and they know we are watching. Be prepared to them to be sneaky and tell your children to not share information with you. Say no to grooming. This makes me so angry because the reason there's so many vacancies is because of shit like this. People are scared to be teachers because they are losing their freedom to be teachers left and right. No, like, they're making it out to be like every teacher is trying to get people to, like, I don't know what they think that sex education is, comprehensive sex education is, but they are incorrect. And it's like, I didn't even press anything. It's like, do you want to report this?
At least 181 K through 12 educators were charged with sex crimes in the first half of 2022. 77% of those crimes involved their students. Unfortunately, I think that number is about to get a lot worse. Hundreds of districts across the United States don't have enough teachers to fill vacancies. In Houston alone, that number is almost 1,000. If you don't think that school districts are going to start to get desperate and hire warm bodies that are going to be more than willing to groom and indoctrinate your child, you are sorely mistaken. My advice, if they have to be in public schools, is that you need to be involved. Join the PTA, join the PTO. Show up at every school board meeting. Get involved in your child's classroom. You can be your child's teacher's largest advocate or worst nightmare. It is time to save the children. Oh, and please, for your child's sake, don't mask them.
Exactly what I said. They're peddling, like, masking as the problem. I'm baffled by this idea that, like, I'm not even questioning her statistic, okay? Because that does happen. But what is the pool of students here? There's millions of students. And while that number should be 0 at all times, no child should be abused, no child should ever be worried about going to school. But that pool, what do they think? Like, do they think that getting involved is going to make more people more willing to be teachers? Good people be more willing to be teachers? They just don't see. They don't see. This is why people don't want to be teachers. Because do you have a right to know what your child is studying in school? Yes, but you're voting in people that they want more government oversight. And we saw what happened with No Child Left Behind. That more government oversight is what created more testing, more exhausted kids, and this, like, regimented, government-controlled education system. Why do you think that going back to something like that, where every little thing is controlled, now they're not even going to be able to read the books that they want because these parents don't want them to become indoctrinated? I'm sorry, but reading Toni Morrison is not going to make your child indoctrinated. Like, this is indoctrination. If you're teaching your children this, you are indoctrinating your children. Oh my God. So this person is just going to make me mad. So I'll probably blur this person because they aren't presenting themselves as a public figure. So we have another one. This one is just gonna make me mad. All part of these same, oh my God. This person's link tree is crazy too. Supplements, heavy metal detox, which, okay. Crucial 4, which, like, so many of these people are sponsored by Crucial 4. I need to look into this company. Pristine Hydra. I need to look. Is that qanon? It's probably not. But saying that your water needs all these different things. Collagen. So many collagen. EMF red lights. CMOS. Enemas. Don't do enemas. blue light shields, so many blue light shields, electricity filters, air purifiers, human grade raw dog food, tongue scraper. Okay. Yeah, Just Thrive. I'm wondering if she's part of, oh no, Just Thrive is a different organization. doTERRA. Surprise. Okay, so, and Beauty Counter. She only has a code for Beauty Counter. I feel like Beauty Counter has gotten better. I think Beauty Counter has like an MLM part, but I think they also like work with influencers. So I feel like Beauty Counter is trying to do different things. I don't know. But okay, I want to look at, what's her website? Oh, okay. No, that's not it. I think she's in, I want to say she's in doTERRA. Why are people buying camel milk online? Yeah. Yeah, so she's a doTERRA rep. So, oh, I wonder, so it says backup. Yeah, because she claims that she's getting kicked off Instagram. Oh my God, okay. I believe the best way to honor those who have lost their lives in orchestrated tragedies like 9/11 and COVID is to shine light on the truth of them. That is so fucking sad that people think that it's... So there's a book called The Shock Doctrine, and if you're interested in conspiracy theories, if you're not over the edge, if you're someone that you're sitting here, you're like me, like I'm interested in conspiracy theories. I've been wearing this the whole time. Do I think things are going on that are not great? Yes. There's a book called The Shock Doctrine, which discusses basically like how conspiracy theories start. And they start because politicians will, when a tragedy happens, it's like the perfect time to do something that fits into their agenda. So like Bush had been wanting to invade Iraq and Afghanistan for years and years. That is a war that was going on for years and years. So 9/11 was the perfect opportunity in order to get those in. It doesn't mean that he planned it. It's just that was the perfect opportunity for that. And then with so another example on the other side of things, so because I want to look like I'm a fully well-rounded individual and I'm not biased, Barack Obama was instrumental in getting gun laws passed after Sandy Hook or Parkland, like one of the mass shootings. So he latched onto that and used that as a platform to try to get people to vote on gun laws and things. So this isn't a new idea, but people get it wrong. It's not that just because these things happen that way doesn't mean that they're caused by that. So oh my God. You know what, let's go through her stories together because I think you guys just need to see this. A short walk, fine. Also, look at this sky, a clear blue sky free of trails and a skull is pretty much the best thing ever. When I asked you guys yesterday if you tracked your steps to make sure you're hitting 10K a day, a lot of you asked what I used to count mine. I would never use wearable tech. You guys know I'm anti-smart devices. Which, okay, she 100% has an iPhone. Because these pictures are gorgeous and you can tell when someone has an iPhone, whatever. So a simple pedometer like this is how I roll. I don't know what this is. More quantum dot rashes showing up on the unvaxxed. I don't understand. Oh my God. I think they're claiming that this is like from a smartwatch. Wild birds in North America are dying like never before. So it's the avian flu. I'll take what are non-native electromagnetic frequencies for 800, Alex. Okay, I'm not listening to that. I don't know what she's, are these chemtrails? After many storms the past few years, people notice a plethora of, I don't know what the skull is, that doesn't exist in normal rain. Has there ever been a report of stuff floating, looking like foam or cotton in the remnants of the storms? I don't know what she's saying that this is. Like, I would have to like truly dig deep to like figure out like what she's even talking about. Like, this is how deep this person is. I don't know. But she's part of doTERRA, and this is what they allow their distributors to put on the internet. Oh my God, this girl's my favorite. I love watching her stories. Okay. Oh, okay. So I've been following this girl. She is pregnant, and she is not using medical care. She claims that the doctor told her to get an abortion when she first went in. And I don't know. If they did, that's a horrible doctor, and she should have switched doctors, but instead she's decided that she's not using a doctor at all. What will you do if something goes wrong? Will you go to a doctor then? I think your journey is beautiful. I was just wondering. When you get out of bed in the morning, do you say, what will I do if something goes wrong with my ankle? How will I walk knowing something might happen to my ankle today? Just wondering. It says, and you wonder why people need coaching. Most people are incapable of understanding just how much a slave to their mind they truly are. I don't know where she's going with this, because I think worrying about something like that is valid. So I have no idea where she's going with that. Who she's talking.
You know what's coming. So last year, I closed my coaching container at the end of the year on December 31st. And this year, I'm going to open it from today until December 31st. My baby is due in January. For everybody who's like, when are you due? Maybe baby will come and no, probably. Anyway, I'm due in January.
She doesn't know her due date, right? Because she's not going to the doctor.
So I am taking the next 3 months to work with just a few people who are looking for more. What does this mean? There are basically 3 types of women that I'm interested in working with right now. And so if you fall into one of these categories, feel free to send me a message and let's chat about what it looks like to work with me. The first is, if you own a business, or if you're in network marketing, then you own your own business, right? I'm not an employee, I own my own business. If you own your own business and it's just not going the way that you want it to go, or you feel like you could be making more money, you should be making more money, hint, you should. If you just want help with being more successful, having more confidence, being seen, whatever blocks there are between you and the success you want, that's woman number 1. Second type are mothers, specifically women who are interested in becoming well-rounded, successful, beautiful, women who are fully embodied in their motherhood, but also in every area of your lives. In the past, if you've been my client, you know that I have really struggled with working with mothers because most mothers are completely removed from all the other areas of their lives that need attention. And so I love this pregnancy so much because I get to see what it's like to be that. So if you're feeling the call, the pull towards wild pregnancy or having a child, or you just want to be a more well-rounded mom, you're the second type. Can we just take a minute to look at these natural highlights?
So
She's in Monet.
Back to what I was talking about. I just get so carried away. I just know, though.
That is the only time I've ever heard her talk about the business. So I'm going to skip through some of these.
Yeah, you got her.
I got her. I got her. I got her. I got her. Hi, sweetheart.
Words. So I actually, hold on, let me get through these.
Ladies and gentlemen, her.
It absolutely breaks my heart to see women struggling with mental health, gut, skin, body, money, relationship, and life issues that could be solved very simply through working with their trauma, life circumstances, and becoming empowered because of what they've been through. It really is so simple, but it takes a yes. It takes a leap of faith. It takes getting out of your comfort zone. It takes walking into the unknown instead of the very stagnant known, and most never will. That's the hardest part of me, letting go of those who never will. People have asked about my relationship with Amber. She was a sister. She was a client. She's now my sister, the one I trust the most. She walked into the unknown and joined me on the other side. We did it together. Nothing like the relationship between two women who irrevocably devote ourselves to the path through fear and habits broken.
What was that Disney movie, Snow White, where Snow White with the apple?
Oh my God. And then she's anti-women dominating men, which is like hilarious. Like if she knew the things I do, or things I've done to men. We have bewitched a society of flaccid men with flaccid dicks, afraid to defend and protect. What? Oh. Do you want it all with a pathetic man behind you? I didn't think so. It starts with making a change today. What is this post? Oh my God, this is great. Okay. I don't know what she's saying.
This is not the most flattering angle. This is not the most flattering angle. I mean,
Oh my God, what is? Oh my God, what is?
Yeah, so she actually hits close to home to me because if I had found her like when I was like in my early 20s, I would have loved her. Like I would have joined her team 100%, like without a doubt. Or even like younger, like 18. Oh my God, I would have loved her. I would have loved her. And so that's why like she's so scary to me because I'm like, listen, like I can get behind like like 75% of what you're saying, but everything else is like batshit crazy. So that's it. That's like all this video was. And also I feel like I don't use Monat. And I feel like my hair looks great. And my skin is like better than it's ever been. I am aging, but I'm 29 and that's gonna happen, so it's fine. That's it for this video. If you liked it, let me know. I plan on doing more of these. I don't know in what capacity. I'm never gonna be like an MLM fails or like a whatever, but we're like solely in anti-MLM content, but I really love this content and I like to make the content. I want to make content that I enjoy watching and I enjoy watching this content. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully this is the key to me posting more regularly. So thank you for watching. Bye.